Hi, welcome to Anxious While Black, a podcast that explores the intersection of wellness, being Black in America, LGBTQ plus experiences, and just the ghetto-ness of young adulthood. Hi, I'm Emperor.
And I'm Tevin, and welcome to our season finale.
That's right.
Yeah, it's good time. Today we have two very special guests. Say hello to David and Delina.
Hey, y'all. What's going on?
What's going on?
Welcome to the season finale. That's right.
The double D.
That's right. Oh, gosh. Thank you guys both for being here today.
Thank you for having us.
So, you know what this part goes, the icebreaker?
That's right. So everyone who's been listening for the whole entire season, as you already know, we like to ask the icebreaker to get, our guests more comfortable. So Tevin, hit them with the icebreaker for today.
If you had to let go of one toxic trait that you exhibit, what would it be?
Being late. Everywhere I go, it's from my mom. It's not my fault.
Stop blaming mom.
I do. It's inherited everywhere. As a child, I was late because my mom was always late. And now, as a grown adult, I can never be on time nowhere. And it's not even my fault. I swear. Yeah, I'd ex-nay that. Get rid of it.
Oh my gosh. What about you, David?
I'm very tunnel vision, and for me, it's like, being very tunnel vision, it has its pros and cons. For me, being very tunnel vision is I'm straight to my destination. I'm straight to my focus, my path and career and everything else. But on the back end of it, I discard so much other things in my life that just trying to find that balance and, being able to harmonize everything where I need to be is really what I'm trying to work on.
Okay. I love that. Yeah. What about you, Tevin?
I think procrastination. I'm always like, I don't know what it is. It's like, I don't know if it's anxiety or it's just kind of just like, I just don't want to think about everything that I have to do sometimes, but definitely procrastination. But I also find that sometimes I work better under pressure. So sometimes by procrastinating, I do some of my best work, but that's not necessarily healthy.
It's not.
No. I'm going to work through it.
Yes, you are. You'll work through it. That's right. You'll work through it. That's right. That's right.
How about you?
You said one?
Yeah.
We'd be here all day.
How
15?
are you?
I'm pretty toxic, like Britney Spears. Shout out to Britney. It's a good song, y'all. Good song. No, honestly, I think what I need to work on is putting people before myself. I noticed that I put people's feelings, their career paths. I'll stop everything that I'm doing in life to ensure that people are happy because I like to help. But I discovered, through therapy that, what about you, Emperor? What are you doing for yourself? And then I get upset and then I get mad. And I'm like, well, none of them asked you to pause your life for them. And I see that I do that continuously. So just putting myself first.
That's a good one.
Like Cookie says, put yourself first.
Okay.
That's right.
Well, who's Lucius?
The devil.
So what's making everyone anxious for this week?
The deep sigh.
You're all right in the same one. Ooh, let's let this go real quick.
You're not making us anxious this week.
Right. What's not? I just moved apartments, and moving is not for the weak.
No.
Oh, no. It's showing up it's not.
Moving in New York is especially not for the weak.
No.
Yeah, dealing with movers, money. It's so expensive to move. You always think you have enough, but you don't.
Right.
Yeah, so that's just been weighing on my mind.
Oh. Well, congratulations on moving.
Thank you.
But I'm so sorry about the process.
It's all about the end result. We're here now.
It's almost over. That's it.
We are here.
We are here.
Yeah.
What about you, David? What are you anxious this week?
For me, just every day is a very unexpected life that we live in. So for me, I'm always on my toes, just being very adaptable to everything that happens. I take everything one day at a time. So for me, it's like not knowing what's going to happen tomorrow. I'm not panicking. I'm just gonna, take it one breath at a time, one step at a time, one action at a time, and just go from there.
Okay. Mm-hmm. What about you, Tubman?
What is making me anxious?
Not this pink suit, 'cause it looks good.
No, I guess in light of pink or pinkish thing. Remember, like weeks ago or episodes ago, when I was talking about I think you were saying you don't like fried chicken or watermelon.
Yeah.
And
do not beat me up for it, okay? Like, don't.
We can talk. We can talk after the show.
Oh,
Side eye.
We can talk. We can talk after the show.
But I recently remember I was talking about like I saw something where someone like squeezed lemon on top of watermelon.
You said you wanted to try it.
I tried it.
How was it?
One of the best things
yes.
I ever did.
Oh,
yes. I can attest and speak on that.
See, now you're down with the watermelon tribe.
I know. And I'm gonna be thin all summer.
That's right.
Okay. Lemons with watermelon.
Okay.
Listen, we try to be thin and we're thin. That's what it is for the summertime.
But I'm just stressed out. I didn't discover it sooner.
Yeah, you
better
know.
late than never.
That's right.
Right.
Better late than
That's
never.
it.
That's true.
I think I worked through that anxious moment.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm happy
Wonderful.
for you.
Wonderful.
Thank
I love
you.
this.
Thank you. How about you?
What's making Emperor anxious this
Right. What's not?
Where do we begin?
The weather's beautiful, right? Well, just knowing that there are people who pretend to be supporters of us as people, pretend to have your back, pretend to have, just pretend to be there for you. And then you find out that they're even worse. Talking about a wolf in sheep's clothing. More like a snake.
Just trying to collect dirt.
They're trying to collect dirt. But yeah, just discovering that someone who tried to be a part of my life, I found out that they're actually on the other side. They are a Karen.
They thought they were like a bulldozer collecting up all the dirt when they really were just a trash can.
They are a sheep. They follow when they're led.
Sheep actually like keep you warm. They make nice wool like your suit.
Yeah.
That's not sheep. Like I said, that's trash.
It's another show, but we can't say it because we have to black stuff off for this our podcast.
Oh, maybe a toilet then.
A toilet.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're a toilet.
Dirty, like a toilet.
A very like old manual one. It's leaking.
They are old.
It's run down.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's run down.
They look run down.
We need to like call a plumber. But I don't know. It might not be salvageable.
It's okay. Listen, that's what's making me anxious this week. It won't be next week. I'm going to feel a lot better. Why? Because my birthday's coming up in 8 days.
Yes.
I'm turning 193. Come check me out, y'all. That's right.
What's the secret?
The secret?
Right.
Prayer,
8 man.
water,
Yep.
moisturizing, and staying away from Karens.
And collagen.
And
collagen.
guys, please get your
Okay.
collagen.
Hey.
And pray to God because he hooks you up. Just say, keep me young and youthful. He'll
That's
listen.
it.
That's right.
it.
So we're reading into the topic for the day.
That's right.
All right. So give us a definition.
All right, y'all. So y'all already know all season it's between Merriam-Webster arguing with me and her, like just Merriam-Webster's been on the side. Me and Merriam, we've been going back and forth. She reached out to me again. I'm kind of not feeling her, so I said, we're going to talk offline for season 2, maybe. But my good boy Oxford came through. Because Oxford came through with a nice definition. I'm about to hear it right now. All right. The topic today is toxic masculinity.
Ooh.
That's right. Toxic people. Definition for my boy Oxford. A set of attitudes and ways of behaving stereotypically associated with or expected of men, regarded as having a negative impact on men and society as a whole.
How do we feel about that definition?
We talk about this for 5 hours.
Man, this could go on. It goes on forever as it is in life. So let's just pick it up from a point and take it there. But that's it.
It runs rampant, like in everything that I'm associated with, whether it's work, whether it's things I like to do, whether it's the career that I'm pursuing. Heck, even me playing, I love to play basketball and I love handball, but it runs rampant in there too. It's just absolutely a mess that, certain men, not all men, but certain men try to portray this whole beat on your chest attitude all the time and kind of look down on people. I think it's absolutely disgusting.
No, I feel like, especially like in the Black community, a lot of that stems from slavery.
Of course.
It's kind of just like we were taken advantage of for so many years that this toxic masculinity took a hold for men to kind of exert their masculinity and be like, oh, I'm tough. You're not going to take advantage of me. I'm not weak like I don't want to say our ancestors were weak, but you get what I'm saying.
Right.
So that kind of just got passed down from generation to generation, and no one's ever really addressed it, though the younger generations are starting to address it more and more now. But for generations, it's just been running rampant.
And it divided our community as a whole. Like, it started separating from, like, weak, strength, gay, straight, bi, kind of masculine, not masculine. It became a hot mess, and people started losing their identities because of it, because they feel like if they didn't fit a particular mold, that they felt like they didn't belong. I think that's what's been happening. How do y'all feel about that?
It's true. Toxic masculinity runs in everything, especially from like a woman's perspective.
Right.
Like, I mean, I'm scared of men because of toxic masculinity. Like, you know, when you're walking down the street, a toxic masculine man is the one that's going to objectify you, that's going to, you know, catcall at you, you know, that's going to make you feel uncomfortable the most. So it's inescapable. Even like, you know, I have an older brother, seeing like, you know, how my dad wanted to raise him. I mean, my brother is an amazing man, so is my dad. But like, you know, there's certain things like that start in the household, like you say, like, you know, from putting them in sports and you got to do this and you got to be a provider and you do this. Like, it puts this stigma on young men, especially young black men, that when they get older, if they don't remove the stigma or kind of figure out how to incorporate it in a healthy way, it just runs. Like, and then it becomes something that is the worst thing to have to deal with, especially from the girl's side. Like, a toxic masculine man, I'll go toe to toe because I like to argue, but like they are the worst. Oh my goodness,
gosh.
it's the worst.
Yeah. And honestly, I personally feel like it doesn't take much for a person to exude and start to have these certain types of behaviors and patterns and things like that. But again, it's like it's a survival state. You know, it's like for years, driving all the way back to slavery and everything else, it's like we had to do what we had to do to survive based off of the actions that happened. We assumed this is how it's going to be. So then we have to implement those type of actions and traits to combat in it, you know, just to be able to survive in it. Whether it was police officers, blue collar, anything, KKKs, anything like that, we had to fight back. And after a while, those battle scars that we had became our personification, became our personality, you know? And then growing up, whether it was from our parents who were raised a certain way or treated a certain way, they have a certain type of mechanism, a certain type of action implemented to prevent their future generation, their kids, their daughters from going through that. It might not be the right way, but it was a way that they were raised, the way that they were taught, and it's just constantly being repeated, you know? So it's like, what is the right way? Who knows? But at the end of the day, actions, no matter what it is, once it's put out there, it's put out there. You could be the first, and honestly, people don't care if it's first, second, or third. As long as it's out there, true information, false information, people are going to gravitate towards it because we're looking for an answer. You know, we're looking for a direction to follow, and whether it's the right information or wrong information, information is information. You can be a person that is constantly skilled at giving the truth, or you're going to be a person that's constantly giving full-on lies. You know, anyone can be good at sorry for saying as it is, but, you know, like bullshitting, you know? And it's an opportunity where it's like information is information, where misinformed or uninformed in terms of the information. So it's like what we go about it and who we are as individuals. And again, also to tie in is like identity is a big thing. Who we are as a person, trying to figure ourselves out, trying to figure what is the right way to be as a woman, as a man. We don't know, but we're just constantly trying to figure it out, you know?
For me, I just feel like a lot of it has been really annoying, especially me, you know, identifying as, well, I'm a black man all day, but being a black gay man, once I put that out there, I'm treated very differently. I don't get, you know, even with sports, I used to play basketball all the time. And, you know, I was in high school, didn't tell nobody. But when I started like being who I was and saying, you know, a partner, everything, it was like, oh, well, I stopped getting invited to play basketball, or certain masculine things they don't want me doing. Or they ask like, how do you get your body a certain type of way? And first thing like, oh, I'm working on, like, but how did you do it? Because they associate being gay was being weak and not being masculine or not being a man. And I feel like a lot of that is embedded in our society that, just being masculine, you have to be a straight guy, the bigger chest, a certain posture, an extreme deep voice, a certain size, have a certain type of job, be into a certain type of sports. But when you don't fit any of that, like, you then are looked at as less than. So a lot of guys have to sit there and play roles that they feel like they shouldn't be playing. There's a lot of straight men who can't play sports. A lot of straight men who can't even lift up a dumbbell. They can't even run. They have no common sense. But and we know that from experience.
Right.
And also on the flip side as well, there are a lot of gay men who, if you go to the gym, they're in there, very heavy, who are super strong and, they defend themselves because they had to growing up, and, they exude all these behaviors that they say that men should have, but it's still toxic. Like, you're battling it. There's a lot of guys who go, yeah, what's going on? How you feeling? You don't talk like that. You don't talk like that. Your voice, you're not Barry White. Some people do have the Barry White voices, right? But you're not Barry White. Like, come on, man. This is ridiculous.
So, David, you talked a little bit about people just grasping onto an answer for something. How do you think that, or how does everyone think that we can, better educate people so that toxic culture doesn't continue to be spread down generation to generation?
I think personally, education part really needs to start with a specific topic in terms of just one identity, like who we are as a person, define what is a person, define what is a male, a female, you can dive into so many things, but figuring out just who we are as a person first, and then tying in so many other things afterwards where it comes into place is the next step that you could go into. But when it comes to the structure of identity, it comes with so many things like emotions, this is personality, your opinion on things, on so many different things. And for me is one big thing that I'm always trying to figure out, but also dive into for me is the emotional part of things, expressing myself. Growing up, I was I'm big into fitness now and everything else, but back then I was a very quiet person when I was young growing up, and I didn't know how to really speak and project myself. For people who do know me, is dance, art was my major before pursuing fitness. So dance and drawing were two things that I really loved doing a lot. And because I didn't speak, I had to let my actions portray my emotions and things like that. As I get older, I'm trying to now own my voice and everything else and express it that way on top of everything else. So for me, being able to know that in a situation where I feel a certain type of way, accepting how I feel, understanding it, not trying to push it to the side and keep moving forward is something I'm really trying to gravitate and focus on. So that means crying, that means talking about it, just sitting and absorbing it for what it is and trying to just go forward is where it's at for me.
I think education, it depends what generation you're talking about, but for newer generations, I do think it starts in the home. It starts with your parents, it starts how you're raised, and especially like I said, with Black families, there is a lot of responsibility and gender roles put on the Black boy in the family, in terms of being a caretaker for the family, providing for the family. And I think it's important to, with this next generation, do it in a way that doesn't remove certain things from them and only allow them to be a provider, only allow it to be okay to be strong. Educate them on yes, be a provider. Yes, take care of this, that, and the other. But you can also have feelings. And when you do, you're not going to say, boys don't cry. Or we're not going to say get up, stop. We're not going to dismiss things. We're going to acknowledge them and create a safe space for people to be able to, not necessarily tie these roles just to being a man, but to tie other things to also being a man and a human,
It's a lot of variables.
Yeah, and I think for the present generation, we're doing a good job at calling it out now. I think, especially after COVID, a lot of topics are now being discussed that weren't being discussed before. And I think that now when somebody is doing something that displays toxic masculinity or just toxicness in general, we're very okay with being you're being kind of weird. Right. That's actually not cool. Or that's not maybe how you should do things. Or even on the reverse, saying it is okay to now try to unlearn those habits that you grew up with and relearn them in a healthy way, so that when you inevitably have kids and whatever, you can then show up for them in a way that you want to be shown up for.
Absolutely. I got to add to that. She said everything. Come on now. You preaching today.
I think I agree with like the emotional aspect. I think emotional intelligence isn't something that's really talked about enough in our community. Like, why can't I cry? Why can't I be upset? Or why do I have to react this way in a particular situation? Like, kind of like when you see like they see little boys, they always want to be like, oh, man up, or stop acting like a girl. That gets ingrained in the mind and contributes to a toxic culture. And at the end of the day, then they end up being 30 years old, continuing the cycle of being toxic and doing like gender norms or specific things instead of like, I can be a man. A man is my gender. It's not like how I should act. Me as a person is like what I should be, not me as a gender.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I want to get one thing clear. I'm not saying sports contributes to like toxicity. Like, again, I think sports is great. I think it's healthy competition. I think it pushes you beyond your limits. I just always saw that when they tell a kid to man up, right? Or you're not acting tough enough, they will throw him in a sport for him to man up. Or if they saw that he preferred like arts or dance or want to play piano or something that's not traditionally what they want the guy to do, they'll sit there and they'll pull him away from it, or, you know, kind of punish him for that. Or if some of a kid, you know, if he probably exhibits that he might be gay, they'll sit there and throw him in something to kind of like hide it.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, that's creating someone very toxic, because now he's gonna be battling who he is as a person as he get older. He can't sit there, be his true self, because his parents or parental figures told him like, no, you can't be like that. That's wrong. So then he has to put on this extra toughness to overcompensate for who he really is. And next thing you know, he's out there being mean because he's unhappy with himself, right? He's sitting there spewing all this hate out because deep down inside, he's screaming and he's crying. Also, I'm gonna cry because I ain't trying to have wrinkles on my face. I ain't trying to be depressed and stressed out. No, why do you think women outlive men?
I remember when my mom told me, my mom's like, you know, men tend to die earlier because they hold everything in. From that day on, I said, I'm not holding anything in. I'm letting it all out.
Like I tell you, I'm turning 139 years old next week for a reason. So everybody get into it.
It's all coming out.
Oh, absolutely.
It definitely leaves a lot of positions where everyone is like really confused. They don't know what's right personally within themselves or what was told to them. But then like the next big thing I always like to ask too is like whether it's emotions, you know, being vulnerable and things like that, is like, if you can't be vulnerable in the moment, where can you be vulnerable? You know, it's like it just now gets to the point where it's just being masked and covered up by so many things to put in this like stigma, like it has to be this. And it's just like, then where are you going to be vulnerable? Who are you going to be vulnerable to, you know? Because then if you are, you're just being judged and questioned and being like, look at this person. And it's just like, what about it? Look at me. Like, see me for who I am, what I'm going through right now. And now you know? So it's just like, that's where it is. But yeah, it's a big thing that is going to be a continuing process, but through parenting and so much other things, it's like it's an educational structure that we need to start implementing. And again, whether it's right or wrong, we just now need to start talking about it more than ever instead of just trying to hide behind it and go from there.
Another thing that bothers me with the whole toxic masculinity thing that I've been seeing on social media is a bunch of straight men making fun of gays. Like, that's like a new thing. Like, they'll sit there talking about the sissy walk and the sassy trend, and them doing all this quote unquote flamboyant things. I think it's disgusting because I'm seeing a lot of our people doing it for the most part. And, you know, just like all straight men don't walk around like this, all gay men don't vogue, all gay men don't idolize just, you know, all the pop female singers, all gay men don't want to wear weaves or tight clothing. But I also see those same straight men wearing weaves in their hair and extensions. I see them bumping Beyonce in their car by themselves when their girlfriend is not in there. I see a lot of them using our words like yes and all types of stuff, and you tried it, and wearing our stuff and copying our style, but then call us out for it. Even down to the nails. They started painting their nails too. But at first it was, oh, that's not masculine, this and this, that, and the third. But then it becomes okay when they do it.
A lot of it also has to do with like the whole age thing. It's kind of like they see like the younger generations, like millennials, Gen Z, like being more of themselves and not sticking to like, oh, what a man typically typically does. And so the older generations kind of look at the younger ones and be like, I want to do stuff like that. And so now you see more of them like painting their nails, or they like look at people like Dwayne Wade, who has painted his nails for quite some time, and like, oh, now it's okay. It's kind of just like, why do you have to wait?
It's always been okay.
Why do you have to wait for someone that you idolize to do it, or wait for everyone else to do it for you to be yourself?
Listen, that's just the way the world is. They see a celebrity do something, and then it's deemed as okay. Like for me with my hair, it was always considered, oh, guys don't have hair, they shouldn't do it. It's not a third, or you shouldn't care about how you look. What? I shall like a bum. My hair gonna be laid and done. Emperor does it himself, and I'm always gonna look great. And everybody wants to start dressing up. You see now that there's guys on social media talking about how to take care of your hair, and some people still get the, oh, why are you doing that for? That's for women. Who says that? Everyone grows. Well, everyone can't, unfortunately. But people, if you do have hair, take care of it. It's part of your crown. It's part of who I am as a person.
If you're like 40 with your hair, you tell everyone how you're keeping it.
Hi, I'm 130 now with my hair. What I've been doing is I've been moisturizing it and minding my business. There you go. There you go. I have a lot to say about this topic.
And you also find that like toxic masculinity is very big in like certain industries. So like sports, fitness,
the music industry,
especially hip hop, finance, and things like that. It's kind of just like, why is it so prevalent in those? I mean, I guess everyone wants to be like, oh, I'm the biggest man in the room, so it promotes that toxic culture. But like, why does it keep getting passed down?
You could be the biggest man in the room without having to sit there and throw your shoulders around. And it's not all about your size, right? You can go in there and just be your authentic self. That's you being the biggest man in the room. You having a presence. You can step in a room. Some people step in a room, you just stare at them. No matter if they're 6 foot, 5'1", they just have something about it. Confidence is where it's at. But people overlook that and feel like I have to walk around and throw my weight around so everyone can see me. And they feel like, oh, look at me, everyone's staring at me. I'm like, yeah, we're staring at you because you look crazy. Right. You look crazy and you look silly.
The biggest man in the room is actually the one who's the most secure in himself.
Absolutely.
100%.
Absolutely. Yeah. But they ain't ready for that conversation.
Well, that could be a whole nother episode.
Season 2.
Stay tuned.
That's right. Stay tuned. Keep watching. Keep subscribing.
Honestly, it just gets better and better.
So, like, how does everyone feel when they're in spaces where the masculinity is toxic? I know, Delina, you talked about a little bit earlier where, as a female, you don't feel safe sometimes when you're around a bunch of men.
Definitely. I mean, not all men are evil, but the root of all evil is man. And I will stick on that, okay?
You can write a book and that would be the title of it.
Okay?
Trademark it now.
Right. Hey. And it's true. Think of the worst thing you could think of. I bet you I can trace it back to a man. Like, it's just how it is. I think, like, it's important to remember that men do things for the validation of other men. Like, the girls, as much as a motivating factor as we think we are, like, we are a pawn. We are like an accessory to show off to another man what he can have, like, So I think, like, in spaces when there are a lot of men, like, toxic, non-toxic, whatever it may be, as a girl, like, you just feel like a pawn. Honestly, like, even when you're getting called at, or even if, I want the cutest guy to come up to me, he's coming up to me because the other cutest guy in the room, like, is looking at me. And now he's like, oh, if he's looking at her, then I gotta have her. Right. You know what I mean? It's not about me. It's not about me. And I think that's something that trickles in every single room you go into. I mean, even, like, you go to the club, the girls be outside now. In the line. Like, the girls are waiting in line. The men are inside. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like,
that's
I thought
wild.
It was like,
that's wild. What you mean?
Like, it's because they do it for the guys. Like, it's for the guys. And I think, like, in terms of safety, as a woman, you're just never safe. That's just what it is. But, like, you can only show up as yourself and hope that you're respected. and set boundaries so that you are respected. And, you know, like I said, not all men are evil. You come across men that are great. I'm sitting with 3 of them right now, you know. But in rooms where, like you said, I work at a fitness place, so I'm around a lot of, like, you know, the meatheads that go in there. They're lifting things up that are heavy and putting them down. And it creates a certain type of energy. It does. And even when I'm talking to them, like, it's like, I know what I'm doing. I know it all. I've got it. I'm good. I'm strong. I'm good. And I'm like, okay, like, I'm not trying to train you. I'm trying to sign you up. So, like, for a membership. Like, that's it. I don't care. Like, do you? But yeah, I think it's just, as a woman and surrounded by men, it's just naturally to feel like either inferior, and not because, like, you know, you're not worthy or pretty or even worthy to be in this space, but just because men are doing it for other men.
I feel very uncomfortable in those type of spaces. It does not make me feel great, because they always try to remind you sometimes that you don't fit in, or they'll try to break you down, or try to come at you because they know you're confident, you're standing on your own. So they'll say things like, oh, you working out a little bit too much, or how do you get so big, or how long you been with your partner for? What did you like? And you think they're asking questions, but they're not. They're literally sitting there and they'll start like pointing and picking at certain things because they're jealous. Yeah. And they're insecure and jealous. I'm gonna keep saying it. You're jealous. And you know exactly what I'm talking about when I say you are jealous. Jealous and very insecure. And when someone's insecure and jealous, what do? They come at you and they try to knock you down.
Try to tear you down.
They try to. The word is try. They will never. But it does make me feel very uncomfortable. Unfortunately, I live in those spaces more often than I would like to. But it runs rampant in our world and in our culture and with our people. So the only thing that we can do is start to change the narrative and just start educating people to let them know that, hey, you don't have to be this way. It's okay for you to be your authentic self. And it get like Delina said, people do it, men are doing it for other men. I didn't hear anyone say they're doing things for themselves. Why aren't you chasing this girl because you think she's attractive or something about her that you like? If you're going to marry her, you know, marry her, say, oh, look who I bagged. I just bagged her. No, that's crazy. Like, why you need your friend's approval? Like, doesn't she make you happy? Don't they make you happy? People do things for yourself. And I feel like when men as a whole can start seeing that and go, you know what, let me live true for me, despite love you, mom and dad, but you were wrong in certain cases and it's okay. Let me educate you now. When we can start flipping that and start doing things like that, we will start to see a significant shift.
In general, I feel very uncomfortable in those spaces as well. Like, I find myself going in with my guard already up. And you shouldn't be like entering a room with your guard up. You should be able just to enter a room and just like be yourself.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I shouldn't have to go in there, like, whether it's me walking with the wall up, me poking my chest out, me trying to be tall. I shouldn't have to enter a room for that. Like, why do I have to do that?
Right.
Especially, like, as a gay man, it's kind of just like, sometimes you feel like all eyes are on you or all eyes are on me.
Because a lot of time it is.
Especially with this pink suit on. It's kind of just like...
Which is a good suit, by the way. I was borrowing this suit. Y'all see me in about 3 weeks.
But kind of just like, why can't I walk around in my pink suit and just be happy without like me having to look out at the corner of my eye and just be like, okay, who's going to try something? Who's going to try to say something?
That's sad.
Yeah.
That's really sad.
Like on the way here, we're walking and like people said stuff. Luckily, it was nice things.
But in our head, I was like, who's going to say something stupid? Or who's going to say something demeaning? Or who's going to sit there and say, look at those, you know, gay guys, whatever. It happens a lot. And unless we're in like our own space, like, yes, we went to the club, right? We had a great time. And I didn't worry about that. We got hit on all night, but because we do. But I wasn't worried about someone saying something disrespectful or someone going to sit there and trying to shrink me. When I go into certain spaces and I'm dressed the exact same way, it's more like, why he has that on? I'm like, what's the problem? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's
like, why don't you have it on?
Because they can't fit it. That's why they don't have it on. Or because they look crazy. Or because they gut touch their knees. That's why they can't wear this.
For me, it's not even like being like uncomfortable or anything like that, but it definitely does frustrate me. You know, it frustrates me because I'm also a very protected person, other people I care about, you know? And it's like, I know exactly I'm not going to let it get to me. I'm not going to let it bother me or anything like that because I got better things to do. I got my focus, my perspective, anything I want to work on, my actions, my plans and things like that, that why try to even let someone else trying to bring you down, being like, oh, you look too big. Nah, it's not good enough, or this ain't this ain't this. It's good enough for me. You know, it's like, I'm going to accept me for who I am, for what I do, and that's it, despite how anybody else feels. But I'm not going to let how my friends, my family, and other people feel very brought down because of the actions of others, you know? And for instance, it's like, it's back to the topic of it being, you know, towards women, how you feel as well. It's like, I support my women, my queens, my culture, and everything I mix. And a lot of times it's not as much the men's fault as much as it is the women as well, because they a lot of times look for that type of person. You know, it's like, I want that aggressive man. You know, I want that type of man that's going to be like real, just like tough looking, you know, just going to treat me a certain type of way. I need a roughneck. But then a lot of times it's like, that's not really how it should be. You know, it's like, you should be respected, you should be this. But then when it comes down to identity and not knowing what's the right way for a man to act, they automatically think, oh, this is what girls want, that type of guy? Great, then I'm going to be like that. And now you're hurting the real queens and women that don't need to be treated like that. And then it's this whole persona was like, all right, now I got to start acting like that. And it's like, no, that's not how it's got to be. Or if it's coming down to the gym or anything in that persona, it's like you see a woman in a fitness outfit or anything like that, tights and all of this, and you just start eyeing her and looking at her a certain type of way. And it's just like, these plans that already have been put in motion, they're not right plans. And someone needs to actually speak about it and correct everybody so you can understand we're not supposed to degrade and look at women a certain type of way like this. We're not supposed to act like this and treat women like this. So it's like, it's both parties that just need to understand like what is the right way so that we all can make the right decisions for ourselves individually and then spread that out to the people that deserve it. And I think everybody deserves it, good and bad, but it's just a matter of like taking the time and trying to figure out who I need to be so that I don't hurt you or the next person or anything like that, you know, that I run into, and then go from there.
When you have society pushing that narrative out all the time, it's very, very hard. All you see on TV is the guy being that way, some women being subservient. When you see a woman working hard, or when you always see, like on even the movies and TV shows, right? Woman, great job, independent, strong. They always show her that she can't get a man. Why is that? Why can't a strong, independent woman not get a man? Right. Why can't she have it? But when she does have the man, she has to be very soft and pretty and, oh, I can't lift a finger. Yeah. But she'll bag like the best basketball player or best doctor. Like, it's a double standard.
It's competition.
And then you have the guy who's probably more artistic, who probably like sports but doesn't want to play basketball. He looked at as like nothing. But then you have the guy who's walking around like rah, rah, rah. He's looked at as being great. It's on social media. It's everywhere that you see. So how are we going to change the narrative when that's being portrayed and put in our face 24/7?
You know what that sound means?
You already know.
It's time for Emperor's Rant.
That's right. I love to rant. I've been ranting an entire season. Y'all gonna get it today. That's right. That's right.
So you know how this goes. You have 2 minutes to get everything off your chest.
That's never enough time.
Well, that's all the time you have.
The ghetto.
We have your 2 minutes, and we're going to get that timer started now.
Listen, what I'm reading about today is straight men who think that gay men want them. Listen, this is not for all straight men, because there's some straight men who are very, very secure with who they are. They love everyone and they're good. This is for the straight guys who think that every gay person who looks at them wants them, don't want to be around them in the locker room, gets freaked out when we walk past you. Let me tell you something. Just like women have standards and they don't want to date you, I promise you, we have standards and we definitely don't want to date y'all. Do you see how we guys look? Like no one is chasing after you guys. Please get off of your high horse. It is absolutely disgusting and it is ridiculous. I don't want to. Look at me. You think I'm chasing you? Your credit score is probably 510. I'm not looking for you. Your girl don't want you. Your baby mama don't want you. You think that we're chasing after y'all? But then y'all have the nerve to sit there on social media and gay bait all day, sitting there showing y'all booty off to everybody, sitting there showing your ass, and 95% of your followers are men. Women are not subscribing to look at your butt. They don't want to look at you. They want to see your bank account and security. And you can't provide either one of those things for them. Get over yourself. We do not want you. And for those who are lusting over you, bless their souls. Don't know why. Get over it, all right? It's not that serious. How about you go to therapy and figure out what the bigger issue is, why you're so afraid to be around your own people who actually want to sit there and possibly be your best friend. You can have a gay best friend. That don't mean they want to sleep with you. You can have a gay best friend that plays sports with you. That don't mean they want to sleep with you either. That's why a lot of people feel a certain type of way of saying who they are because y'all start treating us differently. I love sports. I love to play basketball. But once y'all find out that we're gay, it's always like, oh, locker room. I ain't looking at you because I don't want you. Get over yourself. Pray, meditate, and do well. And that's what I got for them.
You did like 15 seconds, but okay.
I need 2 minutes. That's it. Nobody chasing them. Everybody don't want you. Nobody chasing you.
Well, yeah, it's a record timing for you.
That's right. I need 2 minutes.
Are you ready for our MIA Hill moment?
Yeah, because a lot of them out there.
So for this week, am I the a-hole for notifying the cops? I came home from work and my husband said there were cops talking to the neighbors, but he wasn't sure about what. We soon found out they were chasing someone for doing something illegal, unsure of what. I looked at our camera that points to the street and I saw a teenage boy running and he looked around and threw something under a tree after he came back the next day and picked up what he left behind. I have seen the same exact boy hiding something around my car. I've also witnessed him selling drugs on our property. So I called the non-emergency number and notified them. Around 10 p.m., 2 cops came to my door and I simply showed them the video. This morning, another cop came to my door and I spoke with them through the doorbell and told them the same exact thing. I feel guilty and wonder if I should have just left it alone or if the neighbors think that I'm a snitch if they witness all of the cops coming to my door. Am I the a-hole?
For calling the cops for someone selling drugs in your neighborhood that could affect children? Absolutely not.
No, you said my property is not for you to do your illicit activities. You can find an alleyway or under a highway underpass to go do that stuff.
What if a child saw it? And that's what I'm trying to say. What if kids, they're always watching. What if a kid's looking out there, seeing someone selling drugs, thinking it's cool, probably having a nice fit, they're like, oh, that's the way to go. Like, that's not cool.
Yeah. And
don't sell drugs in my neighborhood. I'm calling the cops.
He's doing drugs now. It could turn into illegal weapons next.
That's right.
Yeah.
Ghost guns.
Trafficking. You're going to turn into a certain person, but you're not going to mention on the show. It can turn into that.
Next thing you know, white vans are pulling up in front of her door.
That's right.
Yeah.
Taking people. Videos are being leaked.
Yeah, I think they did the right thing, honestly. It was like, and again, despite how others feel, you got to take into consideration what's right for you, like how you feel about it. If you feel uncomfortable, and most times people are quick to want to take up their own actions and deal with it themselves, but there might be repercussions to that. Someone might pull out a gun on you or, stab you or something like that. So it's just like, let me just do the next best thing and call the authority, and just leave it up to them to do that, and again, it's also a quick back and forth where some people feel like, nah, cops is not the right way, and there's good cops and bad cops and all of this. It's just like, if you don't feel comfortable taking it into your own hands, let them deal with it and just move on from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she's not the a-hole.
Nope.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Not this time.
Right.
You're not the Karen this time.
Not this time.
We have one from earlier.
Well, that's all the time we have for today in this season.
Yes. Oh, man, that went by so fast.
I know. Stay tuned. We'll be back in the fall. But until then, you can check out all our episodes on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, where you can find our videos. And if you want to listen, you can listen to wherever you get your podcasts. For more on the show, visit anxiouswhileblack.com. And if you have any questions, comments, or concern, email us at that's HEY @anxiouswhileblack.com. See you in season 2.
Yeah, see you next time.
Bye.